Hi everyone, I'm Louise. I'm a member of the Open Insulin Project, and today we are talking about how much it will cost to install and run small-scale insulin production. And so this is a blog we published last week, and I was just going over and answer any question you may have. So first, a little of background about Open Insulin, the project. The goal is to develop a protocol to produce insulin, so an open source protocol. We are looking at the different form of insulin, so the fast acting and low acting. And so we have been working on this for a few years now, and we have a science team working on that to develop this protocol. And one thing we realize is once we have the protocol out there, it will not directly provide insulin to patient because it's not something you can do in your kitchen. So we also need to think about how we want to provide the medicine to the patient. And we have a lot of different ideas, and we wanted to run them, to run a little the number, try to figure out how we will be able to do it. And one idea we have is that a production could actually happen in hospital and pharmacy. So it needed to be like a small scale production, like the equipment may able to fit like in a dining table, and be able to be managed by like a few people. Okay, so if that will be able to produce for enough people, and if that will be affordable and efficient. So we know that the production of a vial of insulin right now costs around like $4. And but this is at very large scale. So when the big pharma do it, they have this big plant and they produce a lot of insulin at the same time. So, and we know there is you save money when you go very large scale. That's why they do it. So if you go to a small scale, like is that still affordable? And the short answer is yes, it is. So we run the number, and it costs around like $6, a little more than $6. So it's still very efficient. Okay, so what's this $6? What is inside? So there's one box for the salaries, and we estimate that we need 3 people to run the small-scale production if we want to do like a 24/7. We may need one worker more for the administration, perhaps the packaging, but yeah, around $1. 2.7 is a quality process, so every time you have a batch, you want to send a sample, like a small part of it, to be tested. So you want to test the purity and the activity. So you need to, and also you need to know like the exact concentration because people with diabetes need to know how much they inject themselves each time they do so. So this is actually like the biggest part of the price, and we run the number from a quote that was in a publication from the Netherlands, and we didn't were able to get a quote here in the US, so it may go down a little here. $1 for the packaging. Same here, we just assume that you can ask a third contractor to do so, or you can do it on site. If you do it on site, you need another equipment, and you need someone like part-time to do so. So it depends a little of the setup. 0.4 for the rent. So this is tricky because we don't know how it will happen, what will be the deal. Just to have an idea, I look at how much it costs to rent a lab place in the Bay Area. So it's $10K a month, but even with that, it don't take like the much part of the cost. So it's still okay, and probably it will go down. And then $1 for consumable. So this is everything you need to buy like every month. Okay, so what is not in this price is what is not is Insurance, because a little related to the rent, is very difficult to estimate. It depends like where we do it, and also the price of the equipment, like to start with. So here I listed the price of equipment. So there's like 5 main type of equipment. So the upstream. So how you produce insulin? Insulin is a small protein, so you will produce it with our microorganisms. So you insert the DNA of the insulin into these microorganisms and grow the biomass of microorganisms. So this is the upstream process when you produce molecules, and then downstream process is, so you go down, like you purify actually the molecule you're interested in. Then there's quality control, so you want to make sure like what you get is pure, your product at the end. You want to maintain a sterile environment, so you also need probably like a tent, or a complete like clean room. So same here, perhaps if it's run in hospitals, they may already have a clean room. If not, you can buy a tent to maintain a clean environment. And then you have the storage, strain, and final product. Because you probably want to produce insulin but have some in storage, so you can follow through. So the price here for new commercial equipment. If you look at second-hand equipment, you can already divide the price by 3. And what we are looking at, so if you sum up all of this, is $1 million. So it's a lot. If you divide by the number of diabetics that could be served with this kind of equipment, so with this setup, you will be able to produce enough for 13,000 people with diabetes. And if you divide 1 million by 13,000, you end up with something around $70. So you could imagine having a crowdfunding to put together the first investment you need to buy the equipment. A second thing you could imagine, since the price per vial is it's so low, it's quite low, you could imagine adding like a $1 per vial, and in this way you could put aside this money and to invest in another small scale production system. So you can imagine both of this. And one thing we're also working on with the Open Insulin Project is to develop our own equipment, so open source equipment, to do all of these different parts. So for now, we focus on the upstream and downstream, so how to produce biomass with microorganisms and how to purify protein. And so there are already some example of equipment for bioprocessing who have been done open source and are now like you can buy them, and in general they are 1/10 of the price, much cheaper. So a good example is of course OpenInsulin. So it's a pipetting robot, and you have also an open PCR. So you have different. So they are all in the blog. There are a great example about what can be done with open source.